"Where's my mommy and daddy?" she asked, while aiming all of her attention at Detective Pierce. "They're dead, Gabriela," replied Detective Pierce bluntly, startling everyone present. "Are you serious?" Detective Wiley questioned her while immediately pulling her aside. Detective Pierce rolled her eyes. She shrugged her partner's hands from off of her shoulders right away. She's swift. She's always thinking. And at this point, her mind is already made up as to how she feels about this young girl. "You have got to be kidding me," says Detective Wiley straightforward. "I'm not kidding you at all," she replied in a hurry. Her face paints anger. Her anger can be seen from outer space. She sees through Gabriela's behavior. It's just not convincing to her at all. "I know exactly what I'm doing," she says as she steps through her partner, bumping him on the shoulder to allow her to make her way back to young Gabriela. She knows she's going about this matter all wrong. Her emotions are getting the very best of her, which she can't continue to allow, which caused her to take several deep breaths to calm her nerves. She meditated right then and there briefly. That brief moment she took to calm herself down was witnessed by young Gabriela as she kept an eye out on her entire surroundings. Detective Pierce took a few more steps in her direction. Suddenly, calmness ran from head to toe of Detective Pierce. Her emotions clouded her judgment, and she can't continue on that same path. That thought led her to taking a seat next to Gabriela, who's covered in blood. "What happened to my mommy and daddy?" she asked distraughtly. Detective Pierce locked eyes with her concerned partner before returning her attention back to Gabriela. "That's something we would like to know," she said sarcastically. She exhaled deeply. "Gabriela, your parents were murdered, and so were their neighbors, along with this young teenage couple." Before Detective Pierce could utter another word, she could hear her partner clearing his throat. That rumbling coming from her partner spoke volumes to her without any words rolling from out of his tongue. Gabriela knew what her partner was attempting to do before Detective Pierce realized what he was attempting to do. Gabriela's 10 steps ahead of everyone, which caused her to gently lean over until she was resting her head on the lap of Detective Pierce, who was instantly shocked. Her feelings about Gabriela shifted at that sudden moment, which was precisely what Gabriela's plan was to do, which is win her over. That's what she did at that moment. She could feel the detective combing through her hair with her fingers. Detective Pierce's eyes began to well like a waterfall. Hearing the sound of Gabriela crying yet again melted her heart. "Shh, everything is gonna be just fine," Detective Pierce spoke. "I promise you, we will get justice for your parents' deaths." She continued cuddling Gabriela as Gabriela glimpsed over at Detective Pierce's partner, whose face displayed sadness. She has them both right where she wants them, which allowed her to gently reach for Detective Pierce's gun, which sat at her left side. Gabriela gently removed it from her holster, gradually, before she rested it under her left cheek. "So you're telling me I don't have a family anymore?" Gabriela asked in a sad tone of voice. "Where am I going to live, and with who?" asked Gabriela. Detective Pierce's heart was crushed. She couldn't ever imagine being placed in a predicament as the one Gabriela has been forced into. "Everything will be just fine," says Detective Pierce, who's completely let her guard down when it comes to Gabriela. "Get the car started up, Jake. Let's get this girl out of here and to someplace warm," she says, causing her partner to agree. In a matter of minutes, Detective Pierce's right foot was slammed down on the gas pedal as she was rushing to make it back downtown to the precinct. "You know, chances are this young girl will be placed in a foster home," says Detective Wiley, causing Detective Pierce to shake her head. "It's unfortunate for this young girl. However, protocol must be followed," she responded. She exhaled deeply while shaking her head non-stop. An investigation is ongoing. There are still murders to be solved, so truthfully, who knows what's going to happen to this young girl. Gabriela is resting on the back seat, appearing to be fast asleep, which explains why Detective Pierce is speaking so freely. "What are you saying?" Detective Wiley asked concernedly. "You can't seriously believe this little girl killed all those people, do you?" Detective Pierce took a glimpse at the rearview mirror to ensure that Gabriela was sleeping. Once she realized that she was still sleeping, she nodded her head. In a soft tone of voice, she replied, "Of course she killed those people. I know she killed her parents and her neighbors, as well as that young teenage couple. I can see the devil in her eyes. She's Satan in the flesh, and she doesn't have me fooled, not even the slightest." "Roar!" yelled Gabriela as she banged on the miniature fence separating her from both detectives. Her sadistic sigh released at that very moment, causing Detective Pierce to swerve, nearly losing complete control of the vehicle. "What the hell?" shouted Detective Wiley. "I told you, that little girl is evil," shouted Detective Pierce as she slammed even harder on the gas pedal. "Radio into the lieutenant to let him know we're a few minutes away from the station. Let him know we have the killer in our custody and to be prepared to shoot to kill her if necessary upon our arrival." Detective Wiley was stunned momentarily as he attempted to register precisely where his partner was staying to him. "Do it now," she ordered as Gabriela continued banging violently on the fence, causing blood to splatter from her fingertips all over it. "Let me go," Gabriela shouted before belching out a thunderous growl. Detective Wiley is in a state of panic. He's completely stunned and caught off guard by what he's witnessing, which took him nearly a minute of watching pure evil being released from Gabriela non-stop for him to register exactly what was going on. It took what felt like an eternity, even as he heard his partner yelling at him before he grabbed a hold of his walkie-talkie to radio into the police station. He's nervous. He's panicking inside and out. "Lieutenant Raimondo, you copy?" he blurted into the walkie-talkie. "I copy," replied the lieutenant instantly. Before Detective Wiley could get another word to jump from out of his mouth, Gabriela yelled, "Don't touch me. Stop touching me, Detective Wiley." She went on and on as she cried out for help. "Wait, what?" says Detective Wiley in a state of shock. He's witnessing the evil side of this young girl firsthand in the worst way. "What are you doing, Detective Wiley? What are you doing to that young girl?" Lieutenant Raimondo demanded. "I'm not doing anything to her. She's lying," Detective Wiley replied. "Give me that damn walkie-talkie," Detective Pierce ordered, which caused Gabriela to temporarily panic. Detective Pierce is the only person who can stop her, and she knows it. She had to think, and think quickly. That caused her to reach for the gun she had tucked away in her nightgown pocket. "Please put the gun down. Don't shoot me, Detective Pierce," Gabriela cried out. Her words caught Detective Pierce's full attention, even as her lieutenant yelled over and over into the walkie-talkie to figure out just what's currently taking place in that police vehicle. "Talk to me," he yelled. "What's going on?" No words left either the detectives' mouths as they observed Gabriela with a look of horror on their faces as she aimed a gun at Detective Pierce. "See you in hell," Gabriela yelled out loud before she fired a shot striking Detective Pierce in the shoulder, causing her to lose immediate control of the vehicle. The vehicle flew from off of the road instantly, sending it flipping non-stop like a gymnast doing cartwheels. Detective Wiley's body ejected from out of the vehicle, ended his life in a hurry as Gabriela took cover underneath the passenger seat, squeezing as much of her body under it as possible, just to keep herself protected as much as possible. The vehicle flipped over violently, rummaging the vehicle more and more with every flip. What felt like forever with the vehicle flipping over and over finally ended with only the sound of crickets sounded off in the distance. Blurred vision and confusion took over Gabriela briefly as she began looking around for Detective Pierce, whose body rested on the dashboard of the vehicle as blood spilled from all over her. Gabriela sat back on the back seat of the vehicle, breathing heavily. She's relieved. She's a free young lady. She may have to spend the remainder of her life on the run, but it beats her ending up in prison. Her entire left side is throbbing with pain, which was inflicted by this brutal car crash. However, she's still alive, and to her, that's all that counts. Inch by inch, she slid herself over to the back passenger door, which she grabbed a hold of the door handle to open it. But the door wouldn't budge. She slammed her shoulder into the door repeatedly, time and time again, but to no avail. Ah! She shouted in fury. She began kicking the door, however, it still wouldn't budge, even a little. She began looking around the back seat for something she could use to break her way from out of the vehicle, where she spotted the pistol resting on the floor. She leaned over to grab it to shoot her way out of the vehicle, but as she did just that, she could hear the words, "Move another inch, and to hell you'll go," Detective Pierce yelled out as she aimed her gun directly at Gabriela, causing Gabriela to freeze.